Welcome to the Little Hut Podcast, Sunday edition with candidates who are running for office. Brown on Cleveland. Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. And of course, you got Kimberly F. Brown with Brown, Brown, Brown. That darn Brown on Cleveland. And of course, this evening, we have another edition of Cleveland candidates, those who are running for office. And this evening, we are going to introduce you to a young lady who's running for councilwoman in the new Cleveland Ward 3. And her name is Sharon Spruill. But before we get into the dialogue with this candidate, here are the rules. The rules are very simple. I explain the rules each and every Sunday. The candidates never get questions before they come inside the little hut. They are not allowed to bring any campaign material inside the Little Hut podcast. And of course, we do not allow them to read messages from their phones. So today is the last interview prior to the primary election, which of course is Tuesday, September 9th. Polls open at 6:30 a.m. and they will close at 7:30 p.m. If you look at the bottom of my screen, I want you to look at the scroll. The scroll that you're seeing happens to be people that have been endorsed by the Little Hut podcast, the Brown Report newspaper, Brown on Cleveland, Self, Kimmy, and the co-host as we move into the general election. There will be other endorsements as well. But meantime, in between time, let me welcome you inside the Little Hut podcast. I am the host for this evening, Brown, 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 that damn Brown on Cleveland. Shake your pom poms, shake your pom poms, shake your pom poms. So let me look at our guest today. Welcome, candidate Spruill.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, for having me today. Thank you for inviting me into the Little Hut podcast. It's certainly a pleasure, as always, to see you. So I'm glad I am the last candidate
Yes,
of the interviews before the election day.
before primary election.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
actually, I think that you're right on time because some people, they have very short memories. So sometimes last is good, but in other times, last may not be so good,
Mhm.
especially since we're going into the primary elections, right? And nobody wants to be last because right now it's not about competition, it's about the top two who
Absolutely.
will move forward to the general election. So let's get right down to business. For people who don't know who you are, please tell us from whence you came and who you are as a candidate. Brown on Cleveland, candidate Spruill, under the hot light in the hot seat within the Little Hut podcast. Thank you.
So I am Sharon Spruill. I am a Cleveland native. I grew up in the Buckeye, Mount Pleasant area. I've lived in that area for over 50 years now. I don't currently live in the same location that I was raised in, but I am still in the neighborhood. I am a CMSD high school graduate.
Okay.
After graduation, I went on to ICM Business School, which is now defunct, but I study administrative assistance and secretarial sciences in that school. And then from there, I worked various jobs in administrative positions, customer service positions, insurance, hospitals, and then maybe about 20 plus years ago, I transitioned and I took a position at Fairfax Development Corporation where I tell people I fell in love with community even more so. My father was president of street club, so of course, as a kid, we were required to hand out flyers for the block club meetings, but it wasn't until maybe 25 years ago I really gained an affinity for the work that he did in the community and how people respected him and how much community was important and how you have to give back to your community. So 20 plus years in the community service business in various aspects. And so that is who I am. I'm also a mother and a new grandmother. So that's who Sharon Spruill is at the core.
Congratulations on being a new grandmother. But
Thank
let's
you.
get right down to this.
Hmm.
You're running for Cleveland City Council,
Hmm.
the new Ward 3. For those individuals who are not aware of the areas that the new Ward 3 entail, please tell us, what area does this cover? Thank you.
So that's a great question. So we'll start at the top.
Hmm.
Um, Shaker Square, the backside of Shaker Square. So there's kind of two parts to Shaker Square, the east side and the west side. So the east side of Shaker Square, and then it encompasses the south side of Buckeye. So if you're familiar with that area, Buckeye all the way over to Union, and then it kind of jigsaws through Union. And then in addition to those three areas, Kinsman Union, with the redistricting, it now includes Broadway, some part of the Broadway area, which is considered the North Broadway area, along with Slavic Village.
Okay. And what is the general population, about how many people are within this new district,
So
approximately?
so within the new district, there's approximately 24 plus thousand people. And again, that was part of the cause for the redistricting because we had to ensure that we had at least 24 plus thousand people in each ward.
Okay. A lot of candidates, when they run, the majority of candidates, all of the candidates, only met one who really didn't, meet certain criteria. But you guys always create a platform.
Mhm.
Please tell me the top 4 issues that you will address in the event that you are elected to serve in the new Ward 3, Brown on Cleveland. Top 4, please.
That's a good question. So definitely the first for me would be affordable housing. The second would be public safety.
Hmm.
The third would be um, economic development. And then the fourth would be youth services.
All right, let's go here.
Mhm,
Every candidate that have come inside the Little Hud podcast, you guys love this thing called affordable housing.
mhm,
You guys love it. I'm not really certain if this is just part of a stump speech because it's one of those feel good words.
mhm.
I can't make that assumption. But what exactly is your perception or idea of affordable housing? Brown on Cleveland, candidate Spruill, Cleveland Ward 3, the new district inside the Little Hut podcast under the hot light and the hot seat.
Okay, that's a good question, and I've heard that stated before. So for me, when I say affordable housing, it's inclusive of what's affordable for the people that live in the area. But in addition to that, the people that currently live in the area, when they're looking to remain in place, which
Hmm.
I've been saying a lot of our seniors want to stay in place. A lot of seniors have purchased homes as my parents did and wanted to leave their homes as a legacy for their children. And so when I say affordable housing, I mean that once they're in those homes, they're able to afford them over the long haul, able to pay the taxes that need to be paid on the homes, able to make minor general repairs to the homes that need to be made to those homes, and then able to just basically sustain those homes. But in addition to that, when we're looking at bringing new residents into an area, affordable housing would mean that it's sustainable for, say, a young couple who's looking for a first purchase, or even if they're renters, that the rent is affordable for them to be able to sustain and as they make a living wage to be able to pay their rent and pay all of the other necessary bills that they need to pay in order to maintain their households. So affordable housing is not just one piece for me, it encompasses all of those things.
For example, let's talk about deals with the banks who come into our neighborhoods. What would be the direct correlation, say, for a family or individual who's looking to purchase? What type of services would you want to see from a bank to service people who are looking for affordable housing, Brown on Cleveland, also inclusive of landlords?
Okay, great question. So definitely would like to see some type of purchase incentives
Okay.
or even rental assistance or incentives. I'm sorry. But in addition to that, we can't just stop there. We
Hmm.
have to go on with financial literacy. A lot of times we have first time home buyers, which
Hmm.
I was at one point in time. And it would have really benefited me if I, in addition to being a first time home buyer, been required to take some type of additional training as far as financial literacy is concerned in order to sustain my house once I'm in it. Some people think you purchase a home,
Hmm.
all you have to do is pay the mortgage, but then you have to think about the upkeep of the house. If I get in a house, depending on who I purchase it from, the roof may go bad in 10 years. And so if I don't have funding set aside to pay for my roof, then I'm complaining about not having some services available to be able to do some type of roof repair that's affordable for me. So that's like another bill. In addition to that, just as simply as landscaping.
Okay.
So I've heard conversations where people will say people purchase homes and they don't keep up their yard. That's a bill
Yes.
for some people, depending on who you are. So being able to have that financial literacy along with the purchase of a home in order to sustain and make sure that you're covering all of your bases with the home purchase. And then as far as renters are concerned, also offering some type of incentive for renters. Right now, we have a huge population of out of town investors who are purchasing homes,
Mm-hmm.
who are price gouging, in my opinion, and it's just not affordable or
Okay.
sustainable for people to actually live in those houses as renters. And you may get someone who may be able to sustain maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, and then you have this high turnover of renters because again, renting is not affordable for some people. And so being able to or requiring out of state buyers or even just investors to have some type of incentive that they sustain over, a longer period of time so they can ensure that people, can afford to rent their spaces for longer than a year. I think that's when we have a lot of transient people, which then we wind up having people that's coming in and out of a neighborhood and people that are not staying and being stable.
Okay. Candidate Sproul, you gave us a lot to take in. If you are elected to become the council person for the new Cleveland Ward 3, what tool would you use to get this information out to constituents, Brown on Cleveland?
Tool in terms of housing or just
Communication,
the community?
communication
Oh,
tools.
oh, definitely.
Because if people don't know,
They don't know. They don't know
okay.
what they don't know. I agree. Definitely would hold community forums. Community conversations is what I like to call them. And again, because this area is going to become wider than it was, my main focus is to ensure that residents of Ward 3 are all on one page. So I don't want to disseminate.
Candidate Spruill wasn't my question.
Okay.
My question is,
Mhm.
what tool would you use? See, here's an issue that I find throughout not just the city of Cleveland,
Mhm.
but different suburbs.
Mhm.
You have some people, a lot of people,
Mhm.
who don't know about the resources that
Mhm.
the city offer.
Mhm.
They don't get the information. So my question is, with all of the ideas that you put forth,
Mhm.
how would you communicate this to residents, Brown or Cleveland?
By holding community forums with the residents.
What about those who don't attend, Brown or Cleveland?
Those that don't attend, then I will have to go knocking on those doors. Because if you don't come to me or you don't reach out to me to let me know what your needs are, I don't know. So either I'm going to have to come to you or you're going to have to come to me. And so it will be my responsibility to ensure that those people who are not able to attend community forums have some other resource. We have so much technology right now. There's no way that people can say that they can't get information because information is
Not my
available.
question. Not my question. Not my
Okay.
question about Kent. My question is about tools. What tools would you use to ensure that people get the information, Brown or Cleveland?
So community engagement will be the main tool that I would
Okay.
use.
Okay. You
Yeah.
don't want to elaborate?
I'm thinking I just did elaborate. Just basically getting the information out to the residents
But by what tools? Is it
through
just
holding community forums.
um,
That's a tool.
okay? New,
By making sure that I'm available because
newsletters,
new,
email,
oh yeah.
what
Okay, so
tools,
I apologize.
the
So,
different tools.
okay,
Okay?
I
Yes,
apologize.
Brown or Cleveland.
Definitely newsletters, emails. A great tool that I'm finding that people are using in council is email blast and then phone
Hmm.
contact, like uh, telephone tree. So making people aware through cell phones. So
Like that
I apologize.
robocall and all that
Yes,
good
yes,
stuff.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I
I just
apologize.
think that a lot of people miss out on information. So no gotcha moments. I don't
Uh-huh.
want people to think that under any circumstances, uh, because we live in this fast-paced world, you know, people do cell phones, they do text, everybody's on
Mm-hmm.
IG, just different things. And I just think that we have to be so creative just to get information out there. But I wanted to see if you had already like employed, some type of tool to make sure that information is being disseminated or will be disseminated.
So
All right.
currently I haven't, but
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
those will be tools that I will use.
That's fair. Let me go
Okay.
to the chat right quick.
Okay.
Brown on Cleveland. Let's see. She said that. Good job, Sharon, explaining what affordable housing is. I wish you the best because the new Ward 3 deserves new and common sense leadership. All right, now. Look like you got some supporters out there. How about that? The
Thank
next
you.
thing you talked about public safety.
Mhm.
Please tell us your vision or what you envision, Ward 3 to look like when you talk about public safety. What are the issues and what is something that you would confront Brown on Cleveland inside the hut?
So as far as public safety is concerned, right now the big buzz is
Hmm.
street takeovers.
Okay.
And so working with the police department, the fourth district as well as the third district, and forming a coalition of concerned citizens from the different parts of Ward 3 because it's kind of large. But working with those citizens so that they can talk to their neighbors
Hmm.
and bring back information and hold a coalition with the actual police department to work to um, curb some of those things. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, oh, people are breaking into my house,
Okay.
or you know, anything other than the street takeovers right now is a really big thing. And of course, we have homicides throughout the city. And so
Okay.
in walking with walking and talking to some of the residents, there were a couple of homicides that occurred in the ward. And a young lady that I was speaking with, she talked about the impact that the homicide had with her son. And so, one of the things she said that she would have liked to have seen is if you have a homicide that occurs on your street,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to provide some type of resources to the residents so that they can talk about how it impacted them. Maybe they were not directly impacted by the incident, but we have babies that live on these streets
Mm-hmm.
that need someone to be able to talk to and kind of talk through and process what they've either witnessed or what they've even, had to deal with. So definitely want to provide some type of mental health services when you have things that occur like that, but then also trying to figure out with these street takeovers,
Mm-hmm.
how does that even occur? Because it has to be something that is planned. And so we have a task force that does child predators. We have a
Mm-hmm.
drug task force. I think that we should add to those task force a task force that actually finds out when these street takeovers are going to occur so
Mm-hmm.
that we can kind of curb some of that activity.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: as councilwoman,
Mhm.
what type of creative measures would you try to uh, implement in conjunction with whatever the police would be doing to try to curb street takeovers, Brown on Cleveland?
Well, have heard people say that block clubs are a thing of the past,
Hmm.
but I think that again we can start coalitions.
Okay.
Um, we have pockets of people. So as I mentioned when we talked about the areas that I would be serving, we have the east side of Shaker Square,
Hmm.
which is own little island, and then we have Kinsman and Union, which is kind of their own little island,
Okay.
and then we have North Broadway and Slavic Village, all which are kind of their own little islands. So bringing together some of those concerned citizens and forming some type of coalition where they can bring the issues all to the same table, I think will be a great resource to use in conjunction with working with the police department
Okay.
to talk about those issues.
All right. Very good. Let's go to, you said economic development.
Hmm.
Tell me about your economic development plan. What is it that you envision for this new Cleveland Ward 3, any event that you are selected to serve? If you're just now joining us, we are talking to candidate Sharon Spruill, right? Who's running for the new Cleveland Ward 3. She's inside the Little Hut podcast under the hot light and the hot seat with Brown on Cleveland.
So there, as far as economic
Yes.
development is concerned, there are businesses along the area that I would serve,
Okay.
and so in speaking with those businesses, even asking, can you hire one or two or three of the local residents
Okay.
to fill some of the positions that you need to fill? I think that will at least provide some glimmer of hope for residents so they don't feel like we have businesses that are
Mhm.
operating in our neighborhoods, but they're not hiring the people that live in the neighborhood,
Okay.
and they're taking the revenue that's being generated and it's being disseminated out in other areas and it's not being put back into the neighborhood in which the people are utilizing your business. So definitely will want to talk with some of the merchants and business owners within the neighborhood to see if they can um, not necessarily sign some type of agreement, but come up with some type of agreement or incentive to at least ensure that some of the residents that live in the neighborhood are being hired in some of the positions that they hold.
Okay, let's go back to the chat. It says, oh, okay, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Anything for attention to seniors and veterans? Any plans for seniors and veterans in the new Cleveland Ward 3? Brown on Cleveland. This is coming from Jasmine Thomas. Thank you, Jasmine Thomas, for the question. Appreciate it.
So seniors and veterans.
Hmm.
Definitely would agree that there needs to be veteran housing
Okay.
set up for the residents in the area. There are some senior um, there's some senior apartments that are currently within the ward. And so, in talking with those property owners, talking to them to see what type of incentives are available for veterans or what type of
Okay.
incentives do you provide for seniors, and how are you making your apartment attractive to people or even welcoming to seniors and veterans. So, definitely that could be a conversation. I hadn't really thought a lot about it, but definitely on a senior level, for sure, the veterans, absolutely, because they do need affordable housing as well.
Okay, very good. Ooh, you're getting a lot of chat questions. Brown on
Okay.
Cleveland. Man, I should have had you on earlier. Earlier, I didn't know you was going to get so many questions. Uh, Here's a question for you. Can you ask Sharon how she will deal with the lead crisis in Ward 3? This is coming from my co-host, Dr. Dre, but people know him as Andre P. White. Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Dre. Andre P. White. So,
Hmm.
as far as the lead crisis is concerned, we have enough grassroots organizations that we are not utilizing to their fullest capabilities to address the lead in Ward 3. So, they would definitely be the one of the organizations, the lead safe organizations that I
Okay.
would want to work with in order to find out what some of their ideas are, and not just find out what the ideas are, but to implement some of those ideas. I know that the lead has kind of been placed on a shelf somewhere and it's
Mm.
not being addressed to its full capacity, but due to the fact that a lot of the houses in Ward 3 are older homes and a lot of them still do have lead in them, that's
Okay.
definitely something that needs to be addressed, and not just addressed, but worked on to move forward.
All right. Very good. And lastly, you mentioned youth.
Hmm.
Did you say youth engagement or you
Youth
said
and
opportunities for youth? I'm not really sure.
I see opportunities for youth, but
Okay.
youth
Well,
engagement as well.
okay. Very good. All right. Please talk to us about this fourth issue on your platform regarding our young people, Brown on Cleveland. Thank you.
Sure.
Hmm.
Just, I mean, the old adage, the youth are our future. And so we definitely need to grab the ear of the youth to find out what it is that they need. How can we help them? You have
Mm.
a lot of people that say it's nothing for the youth to do. I think that's what more senior and seasoned people say, but in order to
Okay.
find out really what it is that is needed from the youth, we have to have some type of youth engagement. And I know that the
Okay.
city has come up with initiative for a youth council. So I definitely will want to work with the youth council to see what they bring to the table and how we can help them.
Out of curiosity,
Hmm.
you're the first person to say that
Hmm.
on a Sunday broadcast. So let me ask you this:
Hmm.
would you consider building a youth coalition or youth council within the new Ward 3 outside of whatever the city of Cleveland is doing? Brown or Cleveland, just out of
I
curiosity.
absolutely would, and I say yes
Hmm.
because we have a lot of coalitions
Okay,
that we're I'm just gonna speak for myself, that I'm not
please.
really exactly
There's nobody
sure.
else here but
Right.
us.
I'm not exactly
All
sure
right.
what they do.
Okay.
But to set up a youth coalition just in Ward 3,
Yeah.
then I feel like I would have a more hands-on approach with what their needs are. So I won't be able to go on what I think they need. I would be
Okay.
able to hear from them directly. So I definitely will be open to setting up a youth coalition just for Ward 3.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Sharon, let's turn the page, turn the page, turn the page. Cleveland City Council members. In the event that you are elected to serve, how would you get along with other council persons? Brown or Cleveland? Curiosity.
um, I think I'm a pretty approachable person,
Hmm.
and so I think I would get along well with them because at the end of the day, it's not personal.
Hmm.
It's about serving the people,
Okay.
and if it doesn't entail serving the people, there are some things I don't even want to deal with as far as
Okay.
When
Fair.
we talk about getting along with people,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not about serving the residents of Ward 3 or not about serving the residents in the city of Cleveland as far as getting along with people, that's what I'm here for. That's it. That's all. I'm one of those type of people that I like to set my ego at the door. So the
Okay.
petty arguments and differences and all of that, I'm a kind of no nonsense person when it comes to things like that.
Okay.
I feel like I'm an approachable person. I feel like I can work with anybody. I've had numerous jobs in which I've had to work with various different personalities, and so I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that I would have a problem working to get a job done as far as what the work requires as a city council
Very
person.
good. Let's change the narrative again.
Mhm,
Committees.
mhm.
Committees. If you could serve on two committees, which two committees would you want to serve on and why? Brown on Cleveland.
Public safety.
I knew you was going to say that. Okay. Okay.
Public
All
safety,
right.
and why, just for some of the
Yes.
reasons that I said, and then healthy homes. Again, for the reasons that I've already stated, like if we don't have healthy communities, we have nothing. And so working with the healthy homes or the healthy communities um, board works on a various different initiatives. And so I feel like I would be able to serve well in that capacity just because of the fact that I have a background in working with the Healthy Homes initiatives with the city of Cleveland already.
All right, Brown on Cleveland. Let's talk about the Cleveland City Charter. The
Mhm,
charter.
mhm.
What do you know about Cleveland's city charter, Brown on Cleveland?
I know that the charter is set up as a list of rules in which the city council follows in terms of almost like a book, a handbook. I will say that I haven't read it in its entirety, and
Mm-hmm.
I do think that just some of the things that I have read that it could possibly or should possibly be updated. Some
Mm-hmm.
of the things, but in order to answer that question effectively, I haven't read enough into the Cleveland City Charter to answer that question.
All right. Sharon, there's something. I'm sorry, not Sharon. Let me say candidate Spruill. A lot of city councils across the region operate sometimes under the concept of the unit rule. The unit rule. Do you know anything about this unit rule? And if so, what are your likes or dislikes, Brown or Cleveland?
I'm sorry, I've not heard that term. Can you explain it to me?
Why would I explain it to you?
I've not heard of that term.
Unit rule reminds me of go along to get along,
Mm, okay.
be it that is right or wrong.
Mhm. Okay.
So
That's
your
what I that's
opinion.
what I thought,
Yeah,
but
I
I
figured you
wanna
did.
I never heard it called that. Just
Yes.
say go along to get along.
Okay. Okay. There you go.
No, I'm not that person.
Hmm.
I'm about doing what's fair, and doing what's fair is not always what the unit does. And so sometimes you have to step outside the unit for the greater good because again, this is about the city residents. It's about Ward 3. So we're not going to always go along to get along because if it's not supporting and benefiting the people of Ward 3, then I might not be going for it.
Candidate Sproul, what is your political affiliation?
I am a Democrat by paper,
Hmm.
um, but I feel like you have to be able to work across the party line. So, although I've always voted as a Democrat, sometimes you have to not vote, but you have to work across the party lines because you don't know who you're going to be dealing with. And so I feel like everyone or most people have some good ideas to bring to the table. You just have to discern and disseminate between the good and the bad. And again, it's the benefit for the benefit of the people.
Last question for you, unless there's a question coming from the chat. Just to remind people, we are talking to candidate Sharon Spruill. She's running for the new Cleveland Ward 3 seat. Primary election is Tuesday, September 9th. Polls open at 6:30 a.m. and they close at 7:30 p.m. And of course, candidate Spruill, she has a primary election. She has a primary election. One last question for you. Recently in the news, there's been a lot of conversation regarding bullying. Bullying. Please give me your take on bullying when it comes to any council member. It doesn't matter what city, doesn't matter what state. It doesn't even matter what form of government. Your take on leaders in the community who bully. Brown on Cleveland. Last question for candidate Spruill, unless there is a question coming from the chat. Thank you very much.
That's a great question.
No, thank you. I appreciate you today.
Um, so bullying, I'm just gonna say flat out, I don't like bullies.
Okay.
I have experienced bullying as I have been in this race. I've heard a lot of conversation about bullying, and I
Hmm.
feel like there shouldn't be any place for bullying when we're doing this type of work.
Okay.
I do feel or I see that there is a lot of bullying, whether it's overt or obvious or not obvious. But I have seen, and like I said, have experienced bullying, and there's no place in this type of work for bullies. If you are confident in the work that you're doing, there should not be any room for bullying tactics or trying to strong arm people into
Hmm.
doing things to go along to get along. It's just a no place for bullying in this arena, and that's what I'll say about bullying.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So I want to thank you for coming inside the Little Hut podcast, being under the hot light and the hot seat. So we're going to wrap this interview up because we're coming to a close. So I am going to give you 2.5 minutes to explain to people, plead to people about why you are the candidate of choice for the new Cleveland Ward 3. Thank you.
Thank you. I first want to say thank you so much for having me here
You're so
again.
welcome.
And then again, I'm Sharon Spruill. I'm a lifelong resident of the Buckeye Mount Pleasant area. I bring to you leadership skills. I bring to you experience not only in community, but also experience in corporate America. Um, I'm here to do a job. I have been in this area for over 50 years. I've not been satisfied with what I've seen in that ward. And so I find now with the addition of the other two areas, North Broadway and Slavic Village, I feel like, or not I feel like, I know that we have an opportunity to reimagine what Ward 3 can look like, and this is the prime time to be able to bring together and merge these communities together and move forward into the 21st century with new ideas, new fresh ideas, and new community work. Again, my name is Sharon Spruill. I humbly ask for your support on September 9th at the polls for Ward 3 City Councilwoman. Thank you so much again, Kimberly, for having me.
Well, not so quick,
No.
not so quick,
Okay.
because we have one more question, the last question from the chat. But I want to thank Edward Jones for coming inside the chat today as well. But this question is coming from Loretta Strouder. She says, "Good evening, ladies. Last question, you guys. Please, nothing else from the chat. It says, I have a question. What does security look like for Ward 3 residents? Thank you." Thank you, Ms. Strouder, for joining the Little Hut podcast. Thank you.
So security looks like for Ward 3 residents, we have so much technology available
Hmm.
now. There are I talk a lot about block clubs. I can remember growing up when our block club blocked together, they got yard lights for the entire
Okay.
area. So there's ring cameras available. People, if they want to set up block clubs or even just form their own little coalition and say, hey, we want to write a grant to be able to
Okay.
get money to get ring cameras on everybody's doors. Security is making sure that once you go inside your home or even when you're going into
Hmm.
your home, you're feeling safe. That you're not worried about someone breaking into your house or you're not worried about someone knocking your grandma in the head. And so, again, working with the police department, working with other grassroots organizations to kind of patrol the area for some of our seniors and just some of
Hmm.
our neighborhoods, that's going to be all encompassed in making sure that we have a safe, secure neighborhood.
Thank you so much. And no, I'm not going to apologize for that. I just let it happen, right? Brown, 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 that darn brown in Cleveland. Once again, thank you, candidate Sharon Spruill, for joining us. Again, last interview prior to primary election 2025. You guys make sure you make it out to the polls and vote for the person of your choice. My name is Kimberly Brown. Thank you for coming inside the Little Hut podcast for our special Sunday edition. After the primary, we're jumping into the general, and I am going to switch seats with my co host, Dr. Dre, because he's going to be in the interviewer seat, and I'm just going to be running the board. Brown, 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 that darn brown on Cleveland. You guys have a great evening. And again, please, please, please get out the vote because voice.
Or nice.
Oh, I'm gonna charge you for that. Yeah. Good job.
Had to make sure I got that one
I
in.
see.
Thank
Cheater.
you.
Yeah, y'all, she trying to give a shout out inside the hut. I ain't mad at you though. Brown on Cleveland inside the Little Hut podcast. Have a great evening.